friends, welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys enjoyed those clips of book shopping. It was really fun because I got to go with some of my girlfriends, actually the girls who are part of my book club, so it was a little book club girly adventure, and luckily we went to Booktube while they were having a sale, so even more excuse to buy some books. So I came away today with quite a little haul. A few of them I already did have on my mental TBR, but a few of these I just picked up in the moment because they looked cute. I love to hear from you guys, so if you have read any of these, make sure to leave a comment down below and let me know what you thought of it. But for now, let's go ahead and hop on in. So I actually went to Booktube a couple weeks ago and did a little mini haul, which I did include in my ultimate book video, which I'll link above. During that haul, I had picked up Next to You by bonam-young. However, I realized that that's actually book 2 in an interconnected series. So while I was at Booktube today, I decided to get book 1 in that series, which is called Next of Kin. I've read bonam-young's other series that starts with Out on a Limb and loved it. She writes contemporary romances, but they have a lot of emotional depth to them as well. The MMCs that she writes about are always really wholesome and sweet. So I'm excited to see what our MMC is like in this one. For this story, I think both of our main characters end up taking custody of their younger siblings. Because our FMC Chloe can't pass CPS's financial evaluation, her and the MMC's family end up participating in CPS's new initiative where 2 prospective guardians join households to qualify. Q Warren, who is a surly mechanic's apprentice attempting to get custody of his 15-year-old brother. The 2 of them immediately clash but eventually agree to live together for the sake of their younger siblings, and obviously feelings are going to develop from there. I think this is going to be so wholesome and sweet, and I'm really excited to read more by bonam-young. This next book I have already read and really enjoyed, and that would be The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. Ashley Poston does such a good job of writing romances with a magical realism twist, and I think this was her debut novel. I have all of her other books and I've been meaning to purchase this one, but luckily they had this in the bargain section, so I literally got this for $5. Absolutely cannot beat this deal, so I feel like that's a really cool thing about Booktube that sets it apart from Barnes & Noble. I never see Barnes & Noble do like a bargain section, whereas at least in my Booktube location, there was a ton of books to look through. For anyone who hasn't read this, our FMC Florence is a ghostwriter for a really famous romance author. However, she's having a lot of trouble writing because she's feeling very disillusioned by love at the moment. After getting denied an extension with her editor, she receives some pretty terrible news from her family and needs to go rushing back to her childhood home. Cue her magical realism because once she gets home, she finds that there's a ghost at her house and it's actually her editor who just denied her extension. It's a little bit of a kooky plot. Ashley Poston's kind of known for them, but I really did enjoy it. I wanted to get the physical while I had a chance with such a good deal. If you haven't read anything by Ashley Poston, I would highly recommend as we get into this fall time picking up one of her books. They're quick, easy reads, but again, she adds a nice little twist that keeps you on your toes. This next book I picked up on one of your guys' recommendations. This is She Really Going Out With Him by Sophie Cousens. I have read one other book by Sophie Cousens last year. I wouldn't say it was my favorite, but I didn't hate it either. However, whenever I asked for recommendations with similar tropes or feelings to Book Lovers by Emily Henry, one of you guys said that I might enjoy this book. So looking at the back, it says columnist Anna Appleby has left her love life behind after a painful divorce. Who needs a man when she has 2 kids, a cat, and an uncontested control of the TV remote? Besides, she'd rather be single than subject herself to the hell of online dating. But her office rival is vying for her column, and no column means no stable source of income. In a desperate attempt to keep her job, Anna finds herself pitching a unique angle. 7 dates, all found offline, chosen by her children. From awkward encounters to unexpected connections, Anna gamely begins to put herself out there, asking out waiters, the mailman, and even her celebrity crush. But when a romantic connection appears where she least expects it, will she be brave enough to take another chance on love? I have a sneaky suspicion who her love interest is going to be, since I did ask for workplace romances, but I am super excited to give this one a go. Funnily enough, there's a quote right at the top of the book from Ashley Poston, who I just talked about, so I'm going to take that as a good sign, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed that I love this one. This next book I've definitely been influenced by because I've seen so many people talk about this. That would be The Passion Project by London Sperry. Because I saw everyone getting that through Book of the Month, I saw it as a hardcover, so I was actually surprised to see this as a paperback. I really love romances that take place in New York City, so that already is a point towards this. this. And this book really gives me similar feelings to Promise Me Sunshine by Cara Bastone, which I also have on my TBR. Our FMC is feeling really lost, has no direction, has no passion in her life. During her first date with Henry, she drunkenly confesses that she's not ready to love again. In fact, she doesn't feel passion for anything. Henry offers to help Bennett uncover her passion for life, where every Saturday they'll try a new activity. Their passion project finds them sampling photography, tattooing, and even rappelling off skyscrapers. But when secrets surface, Bennett finally has to face the grief that's been holding her back. With tenderness and electric banter, Passion Project is a story of finding a spark and igniting happiness. This just sounds so wholesome and sweet, and honestly, I feel like I need to find some of my passion back in life, so because of that, I could see myself picking this up very soon. Now, I think this is just a women's fiction novel, but I will be honest, I didn't do much research on this book pick because I just ended up getting this in the bargain section for less than $6, and that would be My Magnolia Summer by Victoria Bennett Frank. Oh, and it looks like Ellen Hildebrandt has blurbed the front of this book, and I do love Miss Ellen Hildebrandt. From what I can understand, this is just going to be like a women's fiction novel, not much romance to it, but the blurb says, escape to South Carolina low country, where family bonds and hidden secrets run deep. In this gripping tale of self-discovery, Victoria Bennett Frank introduces us to Maggie, struggling to find her place in the world when she receives a phone call bringing her back to her hometown of Sullivan's Island. The cover screams summer to me, and also I live pretty close to South Carolina, so I thought it would be fun and atmospheric to read this time of year. And because it was less than $6, I feel like this is a very low risk scenario, so even if I don't end up loving this, I think I'll still have a fun time. Yet another influenced book pick. I decided to get One Golden Summer by Carley Fortune. I've seen this cover pop up everywhere on my feed, and so many people are loving this. Now, I did not read the book that comes first in this universe, but I did have someone tell me that it's not completely necessary. This will end up being my first Carley Fortune novel, and she just writes very summery, contemporary romances. And the back says, good things happen at the lake. That's what Alice's grandmother says, and it's true. Alice spent just one summer there at a college with Nan when she was 17. It's where she took that photo. The one of 3 grinning teenagers in a yellow speedboat, the image that changed her life. Now Alice lives behind a lens as a photographer. Lately, she's been itching for something more, and when Nan falls and breaks her hip, Alice comes up with a plan for them both. Another summer in that magical place, Barry's Bay. But as soon as they settle in, their peace is disrupted by the roar of a familiar yellow boat and the man driving it. Charlie Florrick was 19 when Alice took that photo. Now he's all grown up. A shameless flirt who manages to make Nan laugh, and Alice long to be 17 again. Sun-slanted days and warm nights out on the lake with Charlie are a balm for Alice's soul, but when she looks up and sees his piercing green gaze directly on her, she begins to worry for her heart. I've heard that even though we only get Alice's POV within this book, that you just absolutely fall in love with Charlie. This one just screams summer, so I'm really looking forward to getting to this one. And I know I'm going to get to it pretty soon because we all ended up purchasing this at the bookstore because we're going to make this our next book club read. So I hope we all end up loving it. Now, this is one that I'm really excited to get to this fall. That is If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. I think I made my first step into dark academia last month by reading The Atlas Six, and I'm curious to learn more. I've heard a lot of good things about this book, so I do feel very hopeful. I do know that a lot of this covers Shakespeare, and we're following one character, Oliver, who is released from jail, and the man who put him there is waiting at the door. The detective wants to know the truth, and after 10 years, Oliver is ready to tell it. A decade ago, Oliver is one of 7 young Shakespearean actors. In this secluded world of firelight and leather-bound books, Oliver and his friends play the same roles on stage and off. Hero, villain, tyrant, temptress, ingenue, extra. But in their 4th and final year, good-natured rivalries turn ugly, and on opening night, real violence invades the students' world. In the morning, the 4th years find themselves facing their very own tragedy, and their greatest acting challenge yet, convincing the police, each other, and themselves that they are innocent. Dun dun dun. I think this is going to be such a good October, November read. So I'm really looking forward to this. I've had it saved on my Goodreads TBR list for so long, and I wanted to take the chance to pick this up while it had the fun red sprayed edges. While I think this will be something that's out of my comfort zone, those can be really good palette cleanser books, and I'm excited to give a new author a go. Now, this will be another new author to me, but I am dying to read this author's work, and that would be Emma Wang. I've had the Sword of Kaigen saved through Kindle Unlimited, but recently I've heard so many raving reviews of Blood Over Brighthaven. But this book just intrigues me so much, and I've seen so many people give it 5 or 6 stars. And I've heard Mel and Rachel from Raven Haired Reader say this is one of their top books of the year. This is a fantasy novel where the premise is the first woman ever admitted to a prestigious order of mages unravels a secret conspiracy that could change the practice of magic forever. And this standalone dark fantasy from the author of The Sword of Kaigen. I really do love that it's a standalone. That is so rare to find in fantasy novels. I do think this will end up being pretty emotional because I think M.L. Wang likes to dive into some pretty serious topics, but I've heard that she handles it masterfully, and I really do just want to sit and experience her writing sooner rather than later. And this last book is a book that I really have not heard anyone talk about, but it was a special edition and I couldn't say no. That would be The Half King by Melissa Landers. 1, I think this cover is stunning, but 2, we have some beautiful sprayed edges as well. Also, look at these end papers with the character art. I'm actually dead. I'm so excited to read this. I hope it's good. This is another fantasy novel where it says, a king by day, shadow by night. The great betrayal changed everything for the allied realm. Long ago, the kingdom's noble houses rose up against the goddess, and for their treachery, the firstborn of each noble family was cursed. One with perilous beauty, one with destructive knowledge, one with insatiable bloodlust. But the royal house Mortera received the worst affliction of all. For while the king exists during the day, he fades into nothingness at night until his 21st birthday, when he will be lost to the shadows forever. Now an acolyte has arrived at court. Like all the second-born children of the allied realm, she's destined to serve the goddess and become a seer. Only Cerise has no gift of foretelling. In fact, she has no magical gift at all. At the center of it all sits His Majesty Kion Hannibal Mortara, with his haunting eyes, sharp tongue, and his unerring ability to send her pulse skittering at the worst possible moments. Falling for him is unthinkable because the king is the last of his line, and as the specter of his 21st birthday approaches, the kingdom holds its breath. There's only one way to save a dying king, and it lies with the one person who's hiding the biggest secret of them all, Cerise. So it looks like we might be getting a little bit of enemies to lovers, probably a little shadow daddy dynamic considering that he turns into shadows at night. But I think whenever I looked this up on Goodreads, it had decent ratings and it might be YA. So I'm not sure what the spice level is going to be on this, but sometimes it's just fun to go into something blind with very little expectations. It's not too long of a book. It is under 400 pages. So I think this will be a fun little fantasy to slip in to future TBRs. And for a very random final purchase, I got this cute little claw clip right at the cash register. It's a butter yellow checkered print with flowers, but because I recently dyed my hair with more of a red hue, the girlie said that this color looked really good with my hair, and that's all I needed to hear before putting it in my cart. That is the end of my haul, so I hope you guys enjoyed. Today was a fun one because I got to do it with my girlfriends. Generally, it's just me dragging Hunter along, and while he is a supportive king, I don't really get to chat books with him at the same time, so it was really fun giving all my girlfriends recommendations while we were in store. But now it's time for you guys to give me recommendations. What is the best book I have here? What should I be picking up first? I want to know what you guys think. But for now, this is where I will love you and leave you, so thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe before you leave so that you don't miss any of our upcoming videos, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye, guys!